Hello? Is this thing... Oh, hi. Yes, Jack here. This is a pre-intro intro, I guess. I just want to start off this video by saying a massive thank you to you guys for your support on the series. You guys have been loving the content. A shout out to all the new people who are here and all the returning viewers, of course, as well. I just want to give you guys a little bit of a... Reward's not the right word. That sounds like I'm talking down to you, but... I want to give you a chance to get more. So today, if we get 1,000 likes on this video in the first 6 or so hours after it is live, there will be a second episode up today. Yes, a double upload Sunday. So tell your family and friends, get on your granny's iPad, log into her YouTube account and drop a like on the video too. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy this episode, guys. Thank you again. And well, run the intro. What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 4 of Tolor Town. It's Park to Prem. Welcome back. I've said that twice now. You're doubly welcome, now triply. Let's stop this. Ryan Postman is the player we start on the profile of, and you might think, who's this guy? It's Ryan Ferguson. He's in disguise. We've given him a nickname. Obviously, we had the two Fergusons. I needed a way to differentiate them. We discussed a couple of episodes ago about the fact this guy probably worked at a post office. It's now written in Park to Prem law, and so he's nicknamed the Postman because he does always deliver. Look at it, 22 goals so far this season in November is absolutely nuts. Although, it's worth noting, at the end of November, we are halfway through the league season. Well, let's have a look at how the league table looks before we go into the results, because you can see we currently sit top, but Durham City and Bedlington just 2 points behind us, and West Allotment hot on our heels still. It's very much anyone's game still at the top of the table, which is a tiny bit concerning. You can see Sonny Best has continued to perform well, as has the Postman. Sam Greenwood, who I would argue is our best rounded centre-back. He's got a discipline issue, folks. 11 yellow cards in 17 matches is just... I want to call it unacceptable, but it's below that, really. And he's not been doing that well in training, which is a little bit concerning, because I consider this guy my best centre-back. He's got that cheeky smile. This is probably the face he pulls when the referee comes to buck him. I can imagine it now. Either way, maybe a little bit of room for improvement. So yes, since you were last here, well, of course, last time out we took on Durham City. You can see we've played a sea of games here, 9 to be precise. I've got a quick question for you guys. Would you like to see the highlights of these games as I talk about them? Should we be more brief about these games so we can talk more about goings-on off the pitch besides matches? It's something that I've been thinking about a lot with this series. I'd be very curious to know your thoughts, because particularly in these early seasons, there's going to be, 9 or 10 games to get through. Realistically, we can't focus on them all, and, well, especially when it's as many as we've got here. But let's talk about them, because we have gone on a good little run. Today we have Norwich United in the FA Vars third round. We are starting to make serious progress in this competition to a point where we have to start taking it seriously. They play in the tier above us, and it felt like a pretty good game to come back for here at the end of November. But yes, you can see the games we've had. In the FA Vars, we took on Woodley and we won 3-1. Then against Bedlington, we mustered up a 2-1 win, which is a good little result because they are going very, very well in the league, Bedlington. You can see here Moab with a 93rd minute goal, and also Postman getting on the score sheet. Of course, both strikers naturally. You might be sat there wondering, how are they on the pitch at the same time? Fantastic question. I've been experimenting with this, playing Moab as a striker and then Ryan out on the left-hand side as an inverted winger, which he can play in terms of, he can play out on the left. He can't play in terms of, if we just look at inverted wingers and what they need to be good at, he can't cross, he can't really do long shots, he definitely can't pass, he's not got the best off the ball, he's not great with his decisions. Basically, he's got the physicals to play out on the wing, and he's quite good at shooting, and between him and Moab, they're both quite talented, and it's nice to be able to play them both from time to time. I don't think this is a permanent thing, but when we need to juggle around the team, it's probably worth doing. And in this game here, it paid off. Anyway, 2 league games followed against Sunderland, West End, and also Redcar Athletic. 2 lesser teams in the division, 2 convincing wins with clean sheets. We then took on Bearsted, a team who, if I'm not mistaken, are in the tier above us. We got a 2-1 win there. Sonny Best with the decider. Unfortunately, he has picked up an injury, and as a result, is not going to be available for today's game. which isn't ideal. He has got injury proneness as a potential con. Let's hope this pulled groin is more of a one-off than anything permanent, because he is so important to how we play. Following on from that Bearsted game, a 6-0 win against Carlisle City. This was a great little performance, a real variety of goal scorers. We bullied them, and having lost to them in the league the month before, it was kind of nice to get one over on them, although in this game it was a lot of kind of fortuitous long shots rather than really well crafted out opportunities, although 35 shots to 5, I feel like if you don't win that game there is a bit of a cause for concern. Anyway, following on from that, 3 league games, you can see here every single game in November has been away from home. Our players are starting to get homesick. We actually were due as well to play a game before this Norwich United game and after the Billingham Sin game against Chesterley Street. That was postponed though, because it's the British winter and the British weather, and waterlogged pitches are a thing at this time of year here. But in the 3 games we've had in the league to wrap up this run of results, we took on Crooktown, a 4-0 win. Lovely to see. Sam Brownhill with a brace, a player who I've not talked about, I don't think, at least recently. He was a player who, one of our scouts threw up as a recommended player. He was playing for Widnes's under-18s team. Widnes are a team who I'm not sure what tier they play in. I think it might be the same one as ours, but he got suggested by one of our scouts. We signed him up on a free transfer. He's on a youth contract, which is why he's being paid £5 a week. Once he actually joins on his full contract in August, he'll then have a non-player contract. But at least till then, he actually has a value to us. But he's a player with some real potential, obviously crazy pace as you can see. I quite like the look of him as a player for the future. Could he be the next cult hero? I mean, I'd love him to have better consistency, but we'll see. Keep an eye on him. He got 2 goals, so he's got potential, certainly the 16-year-old. And yeah, a big part of the 4-0 win. We then had 2 final games against Heaton Stannington, a 2-1 defeat, a penalty, the only goal we were able to score. And then against Billingham Sin, a team who at the start of the year were predicted to do really good things and haven't really shown that. We drew 3-3. It was a bit of a weird game. We came back a few times from behind. And, well, ultimately, it was a draw and a little bit of an underwhelming one. You can see the league table here. It is incredibly competitive at the top of the table. But at least right now we're in not a bad little spot, I guess, all things considering. And, well, today we are going to be taking on Norwich United. You can see how the form is looking here. Their form is excellent. Ours is strong. Although the bookies still really rate us, which I think is testament to how strong our squad is. That a team in Tier 9, the league above us, are not favourites going into this game against us. That makes me feel pretty good about things. Just in terms of general stuff going on off the pitch at the club, an update on the finances, I guess, of course. We raised a lot of money in the summer. We got up to £288,000. That has now dropped by £28,000 so far this year. So that gives you a rough idea of where the finances are heading with the team. We are always going to steadily make a loss. For this month here, a loss of almost £10,000 as well, which is a little bit scary. But we didn't play any games at home at the same time. So this might be an exception in terms of it's a particularly bad month because we've not had any kind of gate receipts coming in. You can see the fixture congestion really continues thick and fast into the new year. And it's not until the other side of December that fixtures look to at least ease up. Although we'll hope that a few cup runs can distract things, I guess. In terms of player happiness, obviously it's always a bit of a juggling act. We've had a few departures, people who weren't happy with their playing time, and so we've let them go. We released a few of the new gen players who generated at the club when I first took over because they're just in their 20s. They were just players the game made up, I guess, to fill out the squad. They were never going to be of use to us. But in terms of real players, 2 have left us. Convery's left us, which is a bit of a disappointment because he was one of the few players who actually started at Towlaw who was still playing for us and playing a fair amount of football, to be fair, but he wanted to leave. He wanted more regular football. We gave him 7 games, so he played almost half the games prior to his release, so I feel like that's a little bit harsh. The other player who's left, you might remember Beckham Hoxer from yesterday's video. He finally decided after about 2 weeks, hang on a minute, I've not got a work permit, I'm stuck in England, I'm not playing, please can I be let go on a free transfer? We obliged, we were kind to him, but yeah, the experiment's over, basically. It turns out it's not a good idea when you're in Tier 10 to sign players without work permits. Just a little pro tip if you were wondering. So a little bit of a shame there. I'm still not convinced he's as old as he is claiming. Anyway, you can see our squad here. We have been rotating things quite heavily, and I feel like we're now at a point where we're quite happy with the team. But today, I'm going to take what might be deemed an unnecessary risk because Callum O'Neill, our first choice goalkeeper, he's not very tall for a goalkeeper. He's only 173 centimetres tall. And his average rating is absolutely abysmal. It's a 6.73, which in past FMs, I might have been willing to let slide. But I feel like ratings this year in Football Manager are a lot kinder on goalkeepers. So we're going to give the nod today to a player who's not played yet at the club. But Stephen James, he's impressed me in training. He's been developing well. He's got potential as well. He's 24, so maybe he won't reach that potential. And he's only a tiny bit taller. But if we just look at the direct comparison, he hasn't got as good distribution. He's not quite as physical, but he's got better reach, better speed. I have no idea if he can perform better. In many ways, I don't feel like he can perform worse than Callum O'Neill. So why not roll the dice and just change the goalkeeper for the game today? Elsewhere, by the way, fairly standard stuff. Matthew Marsh is holding on to the right-back position over Akbas. Akbas, I signed and was very, very excited about what he could do. Underwhelmed so far. He's really not performed well, and Matthew Marsh has found himself back in at the right-back spot simply because, despite his lack of consistency, he does actually perform for us. In the centre-back position, Mbutty, who is obviously as tall as Jermaine Defoe, as some people observed in the comments section, and has one strength, but it is improving. He's hitting the gym. Should we make him hit the gym more? He's already hitting the gym. Maybe it'll get up to 2 by the end of the year and we'll be loving it. But he's actually been performing quite well, despite his lack of height and lack of strength and lack of any kind of natural physical quality that you'd look for in a centre-back. He's done okay. A goal, 3 assists, a 7.16 average rating. I'll let that slide. The rest of the team, pretty standard across the board, particularly our main squad. When we have rotated things, it's not been ideal. You can see here, Ben Holmes actually has performed pretty well for us, the 23-year-old, a player who I've not really talked about a great deal. Good kind of versatile backup player as much as anything. I have had him available for the reserve team. I actually think that's not the best idea because with Sonny Best being out injured, we might need to call on him a little bit more. And you can see he's a little bit jaded because he's been playing for the reserve team. I really need to check this and work out if there's a way to find it out. If you do know in the comment section, please do let me know. But I don't know if players playing for the under-23s in friendlies and under-18s in friendlies are getting paid appearance fees. I assume they probably are, which might explain why we're making a little bit of a loss. Although you can see here, it's not exactly crazy sums of money we're talking about. But maybe I should be a little bit more wary of that. But yeah, someone mentioned it in the comments and I was like, that's a valid point. If I have got all these players in the under-23s and 18s and they're playing, are we actually paying them? I hope we're not. Otherwise, they're getting paid just to have a bit of fun and a kickabout, which I'm not a particularly big fan of. But yes, in general, the team's looking pretty good. I'm very, very happy with where we're at. It's a bit of a shame that today we're without Sonny Best. Obviously, he's injury prone. He's pulled his groin. I'm hoping that's nothing too serious and something that's going to keep repeating itself. We'll have to wait and see, I guess, on that regard. But besides his injury, we're pretty much at full strength for today's game. We are going to continue with the Moab Postman experiment. So obviously keep an eye out for Ryan Postman out on the left-hand side, formerly known as Ryan Ferguson. That's why we're giving him a nickname, because I keep getting him and also Luke Ferguson muddled up. And apparently Sir Alex Ferguson is getting mixed up as well. I think that's because some people were saying that Luke Ferguson should be nicknamed Sir Alex. I feel like that's a big tag to give a player. I don't want to give him that pressure. I want to ease him in. You can see he's loving life. He's loving it. Everyone's pretty happy at the moment, actually. We've had a few players complain about lack of first-team football. I've not really talked about the dynamics. A few players wanting to start more games. I'm starting to try and give them a little bit more games. In general, everything's very, very positive. We don't really have a hierarchy established yet, so there's not much to see there, nor in the social groups, in truth. But you know what? Maybe with time, everyone will become good friends. I feel worse for Jowers and Michaela, and I guess also Kelledy and Akbas, because they just have each other as friends, and that's a bit sad, isn't it? I should really tell the other players in the other groups to include them in the playtime that they have off the pitch. But yeah, in general, things are continuing to plod on. Obviously, it's the end of November now. We signed a new contract last episode, which was a really early time to be signing that new contract. And I'm thinking more and more about the long-term project here, and I'm going to make a confession, folks. I'm getting quite attached to Towler Town, and if or when we move, I'm going to feel quite sad. I feel like maybe we go with these guys all the way to the top. The point in this series, people have asked, will you stick at one team? Will you move around? The truth is, I haven't really got a plan when it comes to that. I'm kind of just happy to go with whatever happens. So we'll have to see. I'm attached though. I'll confess. I might not be able to let go of this team. There's lots to love here right now. Obviously, when half our squad gets poached at the end of the year and I'm sat crying in tears, maybe I'll be singing a different tune. Or if we concede like that in the first 4 minutes, I might also sing a different tune then. That is not the start we needed to this game against Norwich United. This might be the furthest away game we've had so far, going all the way down to Norwich for the FA Vars. This is the third round as well. This is not that earlier around in the FA Vars now. Towlaw, they reached the final of this competition way back in 1998. I want to follow in the footsteps of the great manager, I don't know who the manager was at the time, and the great players who played for them and achieve that feat again if we can. It's the postman hits the woodwork. Michaela, can you get there? He hits it straight at the keeper. That was such a good opportunity for us. And it's gone a begging. It has gone a begging. 1-0 Norwich United at the moment. That was a really good opportunity. I'm a little bit concerned that we might be missing Sonny Best today. Obviously, Michaela's gone out onto the right, and then Alex Postman's gone out. Oh my, how has Moab scored that then? That looked very weird in game, didn't it? Colclough tried to get it clear, but the Moab, he was persistent, like a rabid dog all over the ball. He wanted it more than the defender. After a bit of a weird ping-pong in the box, he just gets it out of his feet. The keeper doesn't even react. It's like a bullet, and he's done like a weird little chicken dance celebration there, which I'm not entirely a fan of. Parsons, it's a free header. Someone needs to explain to him he's not playing rugby because he's headed it perfectly over the crossbar there. There was something I wanted to mention this episode, and I'm trying to remember what it... Oh, I know what it was. The very random plug to have at this point in the match as we're about to concede. That's what better time to do it. If you're not already, follow me on Twitter, folks. It's the place to be. I often tweet out when new episodes are going live. Obviously, you can hit the notification bell on Twitter to find out when these videos go live. As you watch it, it's Sunday morning. At least if you're watching it when it first goes up. But yes, Twitter's the place to be to keep up to date with me. It's just at WorkTheSpace. It's quite simple. You can even, if you're really struggling, just copy and paste the YouTube username. But yeah, if you want to keep up to date with the series, I sometimes tweet out some of the little bits and pieces going on off the pitch, as well as Marsh has a free kick tipped wide. But yeah, we've had lots of new people joining the channel recently, which I'm eternally grateful for. Like, since the turn of the year, there's been a couple thousand new people stumble across the content and be watching regularly, which is absolutely awesome. And yeah, if you can't get enough of me in my life and you want to see what I eat for dinner, follow me on Twitter. I feel like it's necessary for me now to disclaim the fact that I don't actually post what I'm eating on Twitter. I'm not one of those people. Anyway, enough of my rambling and shameless plugging. 40 minutes gone. 2-1 down. We have been quite on the front foot, though. We've definitely had chances in this game, and we're trying to box them in here. Barker tries to switch it across, does switch it across as well. A really nice pass there. Big ball over the top, Greenwood. Greenwood, don't get bucked. I mean, he's tackle him as well, by the way. Dar went, Greenwood looks distraught, and he should look distraught, because I'm very disappointed in him there. It's, I feel like he should get there, and then that tackle is questionable. I mean, he's heeded my warning about all his yellow cards he's getting, but at the same time, he can't be afraid to put in a tackle. Carter Thompson must be wondering on the bench, what has he got to do to get a chance on the bench, on the pitch? Because he's, I didn't mean to click that. He's the only player in our team really who is a defender without a flaw. Greenwood just seems to love getting booked, and Butty is small and weak. I mean that in the nicest possible way, and Butty, please understand that. Carter Thompson is just like the well-rounded centre-back, the one who I should probably be playing more if he was only playing better in training, and also didn't scare me with his lack of consistency. And that forward concentration is a little bit scary too. He's good, great at tackling. Maybe I need to start giving him more options. You guys can let me know. And Butty, Greenwood, Carter Thompson, who would be your duo at the back? An hour gone, I've really got to make some changes here, haven't I? Right. Let's think about things here. We're already playing pretty attacking. I guess the logical thing would be to be like, less playing out the back. Let's be more direct and quicker. Let's look for the overlaps well and pass into space. I want to commit some men at the pitch. I'm also gonna make the bold call here. The postman has not performed. I'm going to bring on Sonny Best despite his injury. I know, bold call. Bring him on. And I feel like I need to do more. I like Koya Lumber. I've promised more first-team football to him. To be fair, he's performed quite well, but I can't really fit him in the game right now. I could bring in Jordan Jowers for Michaela, who's not performed particularly well. And I'm going to hold on to the last sub for now. Is there more I want to do here? I guess less short kicks. Less short kicks, less playing it out the back. Let's just lump it forward. Proper non-league style. I feel like that's very stereotypical for me to claim that all non-league teams play hoofball. Because they don't. There are some teams that do actually try to play some really nice football. But when in doubt, just boot it up the pitch. As a great man used to say. I think it was Mike Bassett who said that. Right, Sonny Best, what can you do for us? He's got us pulled groin, but he doesn't care. Look at him go. This is what we've missed. This is what we've missed. Finish it. Finish it. Oh my gosh, if he scores that, I'm very close to just getting Best's name on the back of a Towel or Town shirt already. And Butty heads it onto the crossbar. They say Butty with 1 strength and 6 jumping can't head it. I mean, show them that tape. He leapt like a salmon. Unfortunately, the header wasn't actually that on target, so it doesn't matter how he leapt. But he's trying to prove the haters wrong. So the ball's whipped in. I'm going to be honest, the experiment to have James in goal hasn't been a resounding success, has it? I know they've had 3 clear-cut chances, but in Football Manager 2020, clear-cut chances you sometimes expect to be saved, and he's not saved anything that's come near him. And that's not exactly ideal. Still time though. If we get a goal now, 7 minutes remaining, I'll dare to dream. Donnelly Blackburn to Jowers. Pull it across. Moab. Jowers. Jowers, what are you doing? He's offside. That's what he's doing. Right, we need to go very attacking. We need one last roll of the dice. But I hate to say it, folks. I think the FA Vars dream might be over. Unless we can break here. Oh my gosh. If that goes in, it's one of the best goals of the season. It hits the woodwork. We live to fight another day. But I can't help but feel like this day does not have much daylight left. Now with Maher. Parsons. Maher again. They've got their own little game going on the right-hand side. Let us have a touch. I mean, they've not let us have a touch. It finishes 3-1 here. Apparently the bookies... Well, Sky Sports News, what would they know about the 10th tier football? They thought that we were the most likely winners, but they were expecting a close game. I mean, when you look at the total shots that have been happening... We've had a lot. You have to wonder if having the postman not playing striker has been an issue on the delivery there, because I don't feel like he's kind of, I don't know, I don't feel like he's quite held up to his own very high standards of almost a goal every game this year. And well, Moab scored, to be fair, so maybe I can't be critical of him. I definitely wonder if I need to evaluate how we can maybe get 2 strikers on the pitch at once. Anyway, James makes his senior debut. He's 24 and he's making his senior debut. I mean, that's very concerning, isn't it? I can only assume he has played some games at some point in his career. I mean, what a time to make your debut. Age 24. What dreams are made of in the FA Vars? He's almost 25. We'll get him match experience soon and he'll be loving it. That's my dream anyway. He's not a bad goalkeeper, in truth, but... He didn't fill me with confidence there. The only other goalkeeper we've got is this guy, Callum Jakovlevs. Or Jakovlevs. It's a weird looking polygon that doesn't make me feel particularly great. Although when you look at it kind of all highlighted, besides his anticipation, maybe he'd be okay. Let's compare him to O'Neill. I mean, it feels like there's a bit of a golfing quality. It's just O'Neill isn't really performing. The other option is to look at goalkeepers. You might be sat thinking, Jack, what happened to that Rudolph goalkeeper you were looking at once upon a time? Yeah, team like 3 divisions above us poached him. So, yeah, we offered him a contract after he'd been on trial at us. He weren't interested and he buggered off, unfortunately. Obviously, we can continue to look at ways that we can improve the side. We can continue to sign players if we wish. And I have been looking at, our scouting setup. We've continued to try and expand the staff setup here. That's something I've not really talked about. But if we just look at the manager performance stuff in the board requests here, I've been asking for scouts to be added, physios to be added, coaches to be added. You can see we've had an unsuccessful attempt at finding a senior affiliate. The youth facilities obviously still planning on being upgraded, which is going to take a big chunk out of our budget, but I'm still pretty excited for. We're going to relay the pitch in April, because apparently it's in terrible shape. You would have thought the month where we've not played a single match at home probably would have been a good time to relay the pitch, but Sandra, she didn't plan it. Maybe you can only relay a pitch in April because it's weather dependent. I've never relayed a pitch, so I can't tell you, but apparently our current pitch condition is terrible, which is a wee bit concerning. You can see, wee bit. I'm getting some of the local dialect now. I'm really enjoying it up north at Towler Town, as you can tell. No accents will come, but I'll try and throw in the odd bit here and there. I feel like if you're from the north, I don't mean to offend you. You know me, but no, I'm unintentionally offensive at times. I'm a little bit concerned about the fact the board are concerned about that 3-1 defeat against a team in the league above us. But I guess if that's their biggest complaint, maybe that means things are going really well, because they're saying long may we last. They're almost worshipping us like the Queen, got long to reign over us. That's me. That's me. I am the Queen of Towler. That's an image. Right, I need to stop talking, don't I? Guys, I don't know when we'll be back next time. I'm looking ahead. We might... I need to have a think and a look at these games, because we've got some games against lesser teams. Obviously, we're in the Northern League Challenge Cup. This is a competition between teams in our division, and I believe just the tier above us. So we could maybe go on a run here. We'll see if we get drawn against a particularly big team. I really wanted to take on Concept because they are listed as one of our fierce local rivals, but they've been knocked out of it. They are also second in the league above us right now, where only one team goes up. So we still might bump into them next year. But yes, I guess that cup competition becomes the main focus for us. It's a bit of a shame that we crashed out in the FA Vars as we did. But the third round was still much better than the board were expecting. And, well, yeah, Northern League Challenge Cup. Let's get on a run on that. Let's see if we can get drawn against one of the big dogs. Maybe even win it. Perhaps getting a little ahead of myself there. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough today. So I'm going to wrap things up here, folks. Obviously, follow me on Twitter, as I already said. Hopefully, I see you guys again very, very soon. And other than that, it is me, Jack. And I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.